The glass was so fogged I couldn't see his face, just the dark, heavy silhouette of a man who didn't belong in my bathroom. Jocks was my brother's best friend. He was the safe one. But as he stepped into the steam, his skin slick with water and his eyes darker than the storm outside, I realized safe was a lie. He didn't say hello. He didn't apologize. He just leaned in, his lips inches from mine, and whispered the 6 words that changed everything. He's gone, Elena. Stop pretending now. Dear listeners, before I begin telling this complicated story of my life, I ask you to support my channel. Subscribe, leave a like, and write the comment which city you are listening from. This is very important for us. And now enjoy listening. My stepbrother, Leo, was always impulsive. When he yelled from the driveway that he was running to the store and leaving his best friend, Jocks, on our couch, I didn't think much of it. I was in the middle of a long, stressful week, and all I wanted was a hot shower to wash away the day. I passed Jocks in the living room. He didn't look like the clumsy kid I grew up with anymore. He was leaning back, his eyes tracking me with a heavy, unblinking focus that made the hair on my arms stand up. Leo's gonna be a while, Jocks said, his voice dropping into a low, predatory register. The storm just took out the main road. It's just us. Elena. I didn't answer. I hurried upstairs, the sound of my heart thumping in my ears. I stepped into the bathroom, locked the door. So I thought turned the shower on. The steam began to fill the room, a thick, white veil that made the world outside the glass disappear. I was mid-lather, my eyes closed, when the air in the shower suddenly shifted. The plastic curtain didn't move, but I felt a presence. I opened my eyes to see a dark silhouette through the frosted glass of the shower door. Jocks, what are you doing? Get out! The door slid open with a sharp hiss. Jocks stood there, his shirt already gone, his skin glistening in the humidity. He didn't look ashamed. He looked hungry. You've been hiding behind that perfect sister act for years, Elena, he whispered, stepping into the stall. The space was small, forcing us chest to chest. The water hammered down on his shoulders, splashing onto my face. But I've seen the way you look at me when Leo isn't watching. I wanted to see what else you were hiding. He didn't wait for a reply. He reached out, his hands sliding behind my neck, his fingers tangling in my wet hair. He pulled me toward him with a slow, agonizing deliberateness. Then came the kiss. It wasn't the clinical, cold kiss of a stranger. It was a desperate, burning collision. His lips were hot and demanding, tasting of rain and forbidden intent. It was a long, slow-motion melt, where the rest of the house and the risk of Leo coming home simply ceased to exist. My hands, which should have been pushing him away, found their way to his wet chest, my fingers gripping his skin as if I were drowning, and he was the only thing keeping me afloat. He moved his mouth to my ear, his voice a ragged growl over the roar of the water. Don't tell him, Elena. This is our secret. Just let it happen. He lifted me up, my back pressing against the cold, wet tile. The contrast of the freezing wall and his burning skin was enough to make me lose my mind. He was relentless. A force of nature that broke through every defense I had spent years building. Every time I tried to catch my breath, he claimed my mouth again, drowning out my moans with more kisses. The steam was so thick I could barely see his face, only the dark intensity of his eyes. He ended into me, with a rhythm that matched the storm outside, each movement a silent promise that things would never be the same between us. When it was over, We stood in the fading steam, the water finally running cold. He leaned his forehead against mine, his thumb tracing my bottom lip, which was swollen from his kisses. "Leo's headlights are in the driveway," he whispered, stepping out of the shower and grabbing a towel. "Dry off. Elena, put on your perfect face. I'll see you at breakfast." I stayed under the cold water for a long time after he left, watching the steam vanish, wondering how I was supposed to look my brother in the eye when his best friend was still marking my skin. I stood frozen under the stream of water, my heart slamming against my ribs like a trapped bird. The silhouette through the frosted glass didn't move. It just stood there, tall and unyielding, a dark shadow in the middle of my sanctuary. I knew that shadow. I knew the broad set of those shoulders, and the way he tilted his head when he was about to get exactly what he wanted. "Jocks," I breathed, my voice barely audible over the roar of the water. "You need to leave. Leo will be back any minute. Leo is stuck at the crossroads. Elena." Jax's voice came through the glass, low and vibrating with a confidence that made my skin prickle. "And even if he weren't, we both know you don't really want me to walk out that door." The shower door slid open. The sudden rush of cold air hit my wet skin, making me gasp. Jox stepped in, fully dressed in his jeans, the water immediately soaking through his denim. He didn't care. He looked at me truly, looked at me in a way no one ever had. It wasn't the look of a friend, it was the look of a man who had finally stopped pretending. "You've spent your whole life being the good girl, the perfect student, the perfect sister," he whispered, stepping closer, until the heat from his body was more intense than the water hitting my back. "But I see you, Elena. I see the fire you keep hidden under all that ice. Aren't you tired of holding your breath?" He reached out, his hand sliding through the water to cup the back of my neck. His thumb traced the line of my jaw. A slow, deliberate movement that made my eyes flutter shut. I should have pushed him away. I should have screamed, but the weight of his gaze was a command I didn't want to disobey. "Look at me," he commanded. I opened my eyes. He was inches away, his face damped with steam, his eyes dark with a hunger that felt dangerous and intoxicating all at once. "This isn't just a mistake, Elena," he murmured, his face lowering toward mine. "This is what we've both been waiting for. And tonight, there are no rules, no brother, no consequences. Just this. Then, he closed the distance. The first kiss was a collision, a desperate, starving act that felt like a bridge collapsing behind us. It tasted of rain and salt and years of unspoken tension. He wasn't gentle. He kissed me like he was claiming territory, his tongue a bold intruder that demanded total surrender. I felt my back hit the cold tile, the contrast of the freezing wall and his burning chest sending a jolt through my entire system. My hands, finally acting on their own, reached up to grip his wet hair, pulling him closer, deeper. At that moment, the house around us vanished. The storm outside didn't matter. The only thing that was real was the heat of his mouth, and the terrifying, beautiful realization that I was finally done being good.